Coming up later on, Mama's middle name. Mamas are special. Mamas and daddies love their babies. And whether they're 13 or 3 or 13 days or 13 weeks, mamas and daddies never, ever stop loving their babies. And it's almost like witnessing a miracle how much mamas and daddies love their babies. I'm going to read to you pieces of an email that we got. My son has a rare disease called Addison's disease. It's a form of adrenal insufficiency. This can be life-threatening, especially when there is a severe illness or trauma. For the month of April, my wife, Laura Jo, and I have been working with a group called Adrenal Insufficiency United, doing cupcakes for Annie. We've been taking cupcakes to as many fire departments and first responders around Knoxville as we can to raise awareness for this disease. It's amazing how little first responders know about this disease, and those that know something have only heard about it and do not understand it. One other goal of our campaign is to get the necessary medication, protocols, and training in place for EMTs and paramedics to give this medicine, which they cannot do now, during a medical emergency. And because people with adrenal insufficiency will not produce the fight or flight rush of adrenaline that normal people will during a severe illness or trauma, it's essential that they get this medicine within 10 to 15 minutes. And if they don't get the medicine in our studio, Andy, he's the dad. Laura Jo is mama. Laura Joy. Her mom's middle name is Joe.
Oh, okay.
And she's from Alabama. They named all their kids after men. Laura Joy and Landon, who is here, who has Addison's disease. My goodness, this is pretty serious stuff here. This Addison's disease. Good. Welcome. By the way.
Thank you.
We appreciate you having us on today. And that email was a real good introduction just to the basics of what we've been trying to promote. And I will add one thing real quick, and that is, since I sent you that email, we've actually heard some good news because we heard from one of the directors that works with the city of Knoxville, and they are actually going to be adopting that protocol here locally. We just found that out on Friday.
Awesome.
And so we're looking forward to being able to spread that around the state.
But the truth is, had you not taken some sort of, a lot of people would just throw their hands up or wring their hands and go, But you love this human. And by the way, this is what, 1 in 100,000 people?
Well,
something like that have this.
The Adrenal Insufficiency United site says there's about 130,000 in the United States that have some form of adrenal insufficiency.
It's not a big number.
So it's not a big number.
Very rare. Yeah.
So it's very rare. Now tell me, what happens when you have this disease? Talk about Landon, or do you want to talk about it? Sure. Okay. All right. Shelley's going to turn your mic up. She's, a lot of times she's in there watching a rerun of Days of Our Lives, and she doesn't get all the mics up. So let me make sure she gets that up. Landon is almost 13. Where do you go to school?
I go to Berean Christian School.
Excellent. Where? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Either like an architect or a businessman.
Wow. Cool. I like that. I just want to be a businessman. I like that. I like the luxury cars. All right. Landon, tell me about how you've been affected. Tell me about yourself. How are you different? Because you look just totally normal and just, a handsome young man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I get very fatigued sometimes when I go without my medicine, or if I'm in a serious situation that causes a lot of stress, or physical sports activities where I have to go through a lot of vigorous activities. And I've only been in 2 traumas. One was when I had the flu when I was in 2nd grade, and I was throwing up after anything I ate. So we took me to the hospital. We never gave the shot at that time because we were new to it.
So this, you're just, you were just learning about it at that point. And you're very lucky that's, because when I was your age, I broken, 2 or 3 things, and, God's looking out for you. Mom, when you first heard of the diagnosis, how did this come about? And did you just take him to the doctor and say he's tired, or how did that work?
No, actually, it was a very long process. He had some issues when he was an infant into toddlerhood, and we got some other diagnoses, but there still was just something that wasn't right about him. And so when he was 6 is when we got the actual diagnosis. And it was from all of a sudden he had severe fatigue. It was the summer and all he wanted to do was sleep. He was just more tired than we'd ever seen him. And it was just alarming. And so we took him in. He was at an endocrinologist at that time for another condition. And she did a test and they called us, said he's got low cortisol levels. You need to come in for a bigger test. We did a bigger test. And then they said, he's got this life-threatening disease. He has to take these medicines 3 times a day for the rest of his life. Here's an emergency injection.
Wow. And other than that, you're on your own.
Yes. And we did feel like we were on our own for quite a long time.
Now, is the medicine, is it cortisol that he has to take?
Yes, it's actually in the form of hydrocortisone.
Okay.
It's a steroid, and he takes 3 times a day to mimic what the body actually produces on its own. We have cortisol that is being released from the adrenal glands all throughout the day.
Andy, 130,000 people in the United States, you said, have this?
Yes.
That's not a lot of people.
No, it's not.
A life-threatening disease, your son has it. Are you scared? This looks normal. And I'm sure he likes to play sports and do things. And I assume the medicine helps him to do that. But is there always that little underlying fear?
Oh, absolutely. We've had to really balance our family life between how much do we try to shelter him and how much do we try to let him live and live his life and not be in fear that he might be in a situation where he is in a trauma, So, one of the biggest reasons we've wanted to raise awareness for this disease is mainly because of that fact that we had a friend a couple of years ago that was an EMT, and we were talking to her about Landon's disease. She said, well, if she was on a ambulance and she came to a car wreck and Landon was in it, that even if we had this medicine, the Solu-Cortef, that he was supposed to get if he's in a trauma, the EMTs or paramedics were not even allowed to give that medicine. It just wasn't part of the protocol. They would have to go through a long process of talking to the hospital or doctors and getting special permissions just to do that. And so we were pleased to find out that the state of Tennessee did have a protocol in place for adrenal insufficiency patients, but it's something that local districts have to adopt also, that just because the state adopts a certain protocol doesn't mean that everybody automatically has to do it. And so...
And who all has done it? Is this Knox County? Is it rural metro? Who has adopted this now?
Well, the person we spoke to, Laura Joy, remind me his name.
Mark Wilbanks. He's the quality improvement officer for the city of Knoxville Fire Departments.
Excellent.
So Mark Wilbanks has told us that the city of Knoxville plans to adopt it within the city limits, and then that will probably apply to the county as well because they work together a lot in a lot of their protocols.
Now, does Landon wear any kind of identification that says, I have Addison's disease or I have an adrenal insufficiency? Do you have a bracelet or something like that, Landon?
Yes, I do. It's on my wrist, and it's a bracelet.
Okay. You ever thought about getting like a tattoo of
it? Silly thought occurred to me.
So it's not occurred or it has occurred?
Oh, it has.
It has.
Jokingly around.
Yeah, but hey, it's kind of like, because bracelets can break or you can lose them. It's like, but if you got a tattoo, which, I'm just trying to find a positive use for a tattoo. That sort of thing. You don't want to get 2 eagles fighting a snake or anything like that. Or mom. Well, you might. It's none of my business what you do. Okay. But mom and dad, out of frustration, out of love, you guys have been pretty busy now for how long when this letter writing campaign and going around to the different departments, and because I assume you guys are the only people doing this?
All right. In Knoxville, we've kind of been the only ones doing it, although we've gotten some friends on board. But one of the people that works with Adrenal Insufficiency United, her daughter actually passed away from complications of adrenal insufficiency a couple of years ago. And so her name was Annie, and last year she started this campaign called Cupcakes for Annie, and it was a campaign to raise awareness. And so this month, when April started, we got into this Cupcakes for Annie campaign, and so far we've been to either us or some of our friends that have helped us. We've been to 13 out of the 19 Knoxville City Fire Departments. We've been to both of the Carnes Volunteer Fire Department locations, and we've been to a couple rural metro stations and a couple of places outside of Knox County also.
Now, do you all three go, or just mom and dad, or depending on schedule?
It's varied a little bit, just depending on our schedule. And when our friends take them, they don't. I mean, Landon's not with them, but it's been a very positive experience.
I was going to say it was received pretty well then.
Yes, it has been received very well.
All right, I want to take a quick break for traffic, and then I got some more questions for Landon. And then if you guys got a website and a way we can help, I want to know about that. I think information is probably the most powerful tool.
Definitely.
Our Facebook page, The Phil Show, News Talk 987, has a link to AI United. Just as we speak, Shelley Ellis Farrell, who is in there with no shoes on, has done it. You know why she has no shoes on, Landon? She's from Neely, Alabama. It's crazy. I mean, she's nuts. Right now, traffic. Ed Rupp. Good afternoon, Edward. Back at it on The Phil Show. Coming up, Mama's middle name. Tickets to the Rocky Top Hummin' and Strummin' Barbecue Cook-Off. It's the Tennessee State Championship. It's going to be good. It's going to be, that's going to be so good. And I get to be a judge. I'm going to give them all, Yeah, well, a celebrity judge Friday night. Little bluegrass, little barbecue. I'm down with that. Ladies and gentlemen, Landon Adzema has Addison's disease. It is an adrenal insufficiency. He has to carry his medicine with him everywhere. His mother and father, Andy and Laura Joy, have been on a campaign, Cupcakes for Annie, where they have visited first responders and trying to educate people about this life-threatening disease that only like 130,000 people in America have it. Andy, is there anything else that you want folks to know? Because I think information is certainly a power.
Well, certainly they can obviously go to the AI United website. It's aiunited.org, and they can get a lot of information there. Also, this Thursday, we're going to be doing a photo shoot and interview with the News Sentinel, who's going to be visiting us while we deliver some cupcakes. And we expect an article to be in the Knoxville News Sentinel in the next couple of weeks. So
that's great.
People can look forward to that, and they can read it there. So,
well, whatever day it is, we'll highlight our listeners to it. Hope it's Sunday though, because it maybe more readership. Landon, you're going to be 13.
That's right.
What kind of hobbies do you have, sir?
I like to go antique shopping. And
did you get that from like Antiques Roadshow or those picker shows, American Pickers?
Yes, I did.
So what do you like, the signs and just goofy stuff? And do you know what's valuable and what's not?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Well,
wait a minute. You read, don't you? You probably look at that interweb, don't you?
Yes, I do a lot of research.
Antique. I was going to say, my gosh, what a Renaissance man. Antiques. Do you cook?
Yes, I do. I cook a lot because I eat a lot.
Your mom said you get low blood sugar, so you got to eat every couple hours. So they just like, okay, we're tired of making you stuff. Get your butt in the kitchen and cook something.
Exactly.
Yep.
But you like a lot of food.
Yes, I do.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've certainly got a couple of great arrows in your quiver if you antique shop and you know how to cook, because chicks dig that. I mean, let's just, I'm going to be honest with you. You take the pen or the shot with you of your medicine, which is called, tell me the medicine again.
Solucortef.
Mm-hmm. I got their first album. No, just kidding. You take that with you everywhere you go. In an emergency, you might have to inject yourself.
Yes.
You get in a car wreck or you fall, you realize, oh my gosh, I've broken my arm, and I got like 10 minutes to do this. You think you could shoot yourself, or you think you could inject yourself?
Yeah, if I wasn't unconscious.
Well, that's true. That's very true. But if you have you studied about that at all, or do you know where to do it? Or
yeah.
Is it kind of like an EpiPen? You just do it in your thigh or your stomach, or where do you do it?
You can do it in your leg, and it's more like a syringe.
Okay. You take that with you everywhere you go. What kind of plans do you have for the future? Because I think that by the way, someone on Facebook, you said, or somewhere said that John F. Kennedy had Addison's disease.
He did.
That is correct. He was one of the first people that actually survived a surgery who had Addison's or an adrenal insufficiency, because before people were really aware of this, a lot of the diagnosis came post-mortem, that people weren't aware that they had it. And so they would die from what might be a normal surgery or something rather routine. And then they would go and do an autopsy and find out, their body didn't produce adrenaline that they needed.
Wow. Cool. Well, you're in some pretty heavy company there, my friend Landon. What do you you said you want to be a businessman or an architect, but what about school and things like that? What are your immediate plans for like high school? Are you looking forward to driving a car, or do you want to go bungee jumping, or does mom and dad frown on that? I mean, is there something you want to do that you just think, I gotta be careful?
Yes. I like classic cars, and
you like classic cars. Shelley, did you hear that? He likes classic cars. You know, the street rods are coming to town.
Yep.
What's your favorite car?
The Chevelle.
Really? Like 66, 67, 68, that model?
Yeah.
With a rat motor? You know what a rat motor is? It's 396. Yeah. It's a big block. Okay, they also put some, here again, they put some big blocks in some Camaros. Did you know that? Around 68. I mean, you talk about a hoss car. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a pair of street rod tickets so you and your dad or you and your mom can go.
Oh, thank you.
Would that be okay?
That's awesome.
Because I tell you what, I look forward to it. I like it. My dream car is a 57 Chevy. 2-door post. And I keep thinking one of these days I'll find one. And the ones I find are like in pieces. And I can afford them. They're only like $6 or $8,000. The restored ones are, that sort of thing. So, well, you know what? You want a Chevelle one day? I hope you get your Chevelle one day. That'd be fun.
Me too.
You want a 4-speed, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you want auto. I mean, you want to run it through the gears or something like that. If I had one, I'd let you run it through the gears. All right, family, thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing us to be on. We appreciate it.
Well, and I wish you continued success. And here again, enjoy your time at the National Street Rod Association. This is Chilhowie Park, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It starts, and the weather's going to be great. So wear sunscreen. All right.
Thanks, Phil.
Hey, guys,
thank you very much.
God bless. All right, coming up.